Thanks for stopping by. I thought I'd do a short video to tell you a little bit about me in case we don't know each other already. I've been working in learning and development since the late 90s. And before that, when I was in university, I didn't even know learning and development was a profession. I went to school at the University of Guelph and I studied family and social relations, which is an applied science degree. And when I graduated, I knew that I wanted to go on and do a master's, but I didn't know in what. And I wanted to do something that was going to be really practical and lead to a vocation or a job. I thought I wanted to be a therapist. After I graduated, I worked at the Boston Consulting Group. It was an entry-level, low-paying job. I did data entry and filing management, things like that. But what it did is it introduced me to the world of business, which I had had no exposure to. My dad was a librarian at the university, and my mom was a teacher and then a stay-at-home mom. So I had no exposure to business. And it opened my eyes, and I realized that I loved the business environment. So I ended up going back to school. I did a master's of adult education at U of T. And what learning has done for me is it's bridged my interest in my undergrad in social relations and interpersonal skills and learning and psychology and sociology and all of that, but it puts it into a business context, which is what I had discovered at the consulting company. So that was my path to kind of figuring out learning and development. Since then, since the 90s, I've worked as a consultant for most of that, but also in-house. I worked at a life insurance company in Toronto. I was head of the sales training department for North America. And over that time, both consulting and working with lots of different clients on lots of different programs, and when I was working in-house, I realized kind of a theme, I guess, and what developed for me was a passion really in that learning and development needs to result in a change of performance. It needs to stick, and people need to come away with different skills and behaviors that they can apply to do their job more effectively. And what I've realized is that so often employees changing their behavior or improving their performance rests with the formal learning and development function. And I think that's a misstep on our profession. I include myself in that, because I think that so often those departments put together formal training programs, but then miss the mark and maybe struggle to demonstrate their impact or get them implemented effectively. And I think it's because we need to engage leaders more, and leaders really need to step up and take ownership for their employee development. So my focus is now, as I've been evolving, is to work with the learning and development function, individual contributors, managers, executives, to make sure that the formal programs that they're creating are really impactful, and also working with leaders so they can take ownership of and really support their employees in their development. And that by working with both, we can bridge that gap and make sure that we embed learning in organizations and we can build human capability. So that's a little bit about me. I would love to meet you if we haven't already. And if you want to reach out, please feel free to click on the email me button and we can start a conversation.